Good morning, everyone. Good morning. LaShawn here. So I wanted to come on this morning and just share my testimony from this week because it really blessed me and hopefully it'll bless you too. So I have been in a very, I would say, busy season. And things have felt quite often for me very overwhelming. Overwhelming to the point that I can feel the tension in my body and also just getting headaches and a lot of stress. And it doesn't feel good to be in that type of situation. And I was sharing it with one of my friends, Ashley, and what she told me next just reminded me of something that our pastor has been preaching about. So what she said was that she told me, I'm just going to read it. She said, Tioma, she was like, God is stretching you in this season. And if you go to Wake Chapel, you can shout right there. She said, Tioma, God is stretching you in this season, not so you know what your capacity is, but so that you know what God's capacity is. And I literally threw my hands up and had to walk away. I mean, I came right back, but I had to tell her, not remind her because she didn't know. I had to tell her that our pastor, so the church I go to out here is called Wake Chapel. Our pastor is Pastor Sharon Nesbitt, and she has been preaching about our year of greater impact this year. And prior to starting the year, though, we had a vision casting service, and that service was about, in the service, she preached about stretching and how God stretches us, but for the purpose of making greater impact. I had vaguely remembered it because I had been in such a busy season, I had completely forgot about that sermon until my friend Ashley told me that was the season I was in. And I'm like, you are completely right. So I had to go back to the sermon. Now I take notes every Sunday on my iPad on the sermons, and some of the notes that I took from that sermon, quotes from Pastor Sharon, is God doesn't call you beyond your reach unless he plans to meet you there. Lord, stretch me, stretch my faith, stretch my discipline, stretch my prayer life, stretch my generosity, stretch me until I look like the future you have for me. And these are notes that I took and prayers that I've prayed. And then to be reminded that I was in a stretching season was everything I needed to hear. So I went back. The scripture reference that the pastor gave for that sermon was Isaiah 54, 2 and 3. And it reads, enlarge the place of your tent and let them stretch out the curtains of your dwellings. Do not spare, lengthen your cords and strengthen your stakes, for you shall expand to the right and to the left, and your descendants will inherit the nations and make the desolate cities inhabited. And so then I went back and I wrote notes just for myself. And one of the things that God reminded me in a very practical sense is what stretching involves, right? And so if you just think about stretching a muscle or stretching when you're tight, a muscle cannot be stretched in a position of rest. A muscle cannot be stretched in a position of comfort. A muscle has to be taken to the end of its limits in order to be stretched. It has to go beyond its resting capacity in order to be stretched. So if we take that and apply it to our lives, or if I take it and apply it to my life, then I can't be stretched in a position of comfort. I can't be stretched in a position of rest. I have to be taken to my limits. I have to be taken to capacity in order to be stretched. And then in order for a stretch to be effective, you can't just go to capacity and just stop and say, okay, we took you to the point of stretch. You have to hold the stretch in order for the stretch to have any benefit. And the stretch has to be done repeatedly over time. So you can't just stretch one time and say, okay, I've been stretched, I'm ready for what's next in life. You have to be stretched repeatedly, and it has to be held. So sometimes that means we have to stay in a place of discomfort. We have to stay in a place of overwhelmed, not so we can just be taken to our limits, but so that then that allows God to come in and take over where we cannot. That allows God to come in and let his capacity start where ours ends. The word says that God's grace is sufficient. It says that God's strength is made perfect in our weakness. So at the point that we become weak, that is the opportunity when God gets to step in. And I can just shout right there because I needed that reminder that I am in this season for a reason. I feel like I have been overwhelmed for a long time, but I have just been being held in that stretch for the purpose of me growing so that I can do all the things that God has called me to do. And so if you are in that season as well, or experience those stretching seasons, remember that God is preparing you too for your purpose. So I just wanted to share that with you all, and I hope that that blessed you as much as it blessed me.